This is Wow! What a week.
What a week. PoliTricks.
Eta, welcome to another edition of #PoliTricks on Wow What a Week. My name is Fresh. His name is Botsang. Today we're going from parliamentary grilling sessions to global courtroom battles, riots in Madagascar, the latest rant from Donald Trump, and obviously your views and your thoughts at the bottom of the screen. So please be a part of this episode because we love hearing from you. We're taking it from parliaments and courtrooms straight into your living room.
Yeah.
And your phone.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good morning, Fresh.
Yes, sir.
Good morning to the viewers and followers.
I love PoliTricks.
Why?
Because politics meets plain talk, simple talk on the show.
No. And that's what I appreciate.
Yes, sir.
It life very simple.
Interesting week.
Very interesting, as all other weeks.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Ad-Hoc Committee grills Sibiya, Minister Mchunu, while the Madlanga Commission goes in camera.
Yes. Where were we last week, by the way? Anyway, the Madlanga Commission, simple as that, they did announce sometimes at the end of last week that when they resumed this week. Remember, they were on recess after General Khumalo went ill.
Is he still ill?
I've heard
Do we have any details?
ill, by the way, but I've heard the police commissioner on the Ad-Hoc Committee, he was asked by one of the MPs, have you checked, one of your generals who is Khumalo? He said, yes, I've checked on him the day before. I think the commissioner was there on Tuesday or Wednesday. So the day before, he said he checked on General Khumalo. He's still ill, but he's recovering and recuperating very well. The funny thing is they don't say what's wrong with him.
I was going to say that maybe I'm too much of a conspiracy theorist or cynic, but is it a coincidence that you're singing like a canary, the very next day the singing can't happen because you're not well?
Yeah.
Is it just a coincidence?
Look, Fresh, anything is possible.
Could it be an external thing? Or could it also be you're so overwhelmed with what you're doing that your body attacks itself?
Yeah.
Because there's also that.
There's also that. Look, I pray and hope there's nothing sinister about this whole thing, but anything is possible in politics. We have seen it over the years.
Sure.
Anything is possible, but I just hope there's nothing sinister, that the General Khumalo is naturally ill and is recuperating and recovering very well, because it's been like 2 weeks now. And the funny thing also, you just said something now, which it has happened to me, where I'm so overwhelmed and there's too much tension and stress and anxiety that your body clocks can't take it anymore.
Sure.
So you need to rest. And doctors will always tell you, take your body rest. But yeah, going back to the Madlanga Commission, then they decided this week, in absence of General Khumalo, and when they went on recession, I said, why didn't they line up other people? Because it was concerning, why would you wait while you can do other things?
Sure.
So they decided to bring witnesses. They started this week with a witness they named X, who was in camera, the witness, but the testimony was not in camera. Because
Okay, so in camera means we will hide your identity,
yes,
but not what you are saying.
But not what you are saying, yes.
But if the whole thing is in camera, then it's a total blackout.
Then it's a total blackout. We will not know what has been discussed, what was being said there. So that's what the Madlanga Commission has been busy with. And I've noticed that people pay more attention, or the general stream media pays more attention to where warm bodies are. For me, what is interesting is what is being said in camera, because it's very critical information. And for the benefit of the viewers, the Mr. X or Miss X who's on camera, we don't know whether it's a man or a woman, because it was not the person talking to answering to the commission. So he was sitting somewhere in a hidden room with not even a translator, an interpreter. So he will talk to the third person, then the third person talks to
So it was like a relay.
It was a relay, yes.
So I'm gonna give my testimony, but someone else whose voice is not known.
Yes, it's not known.
Will then
relay the information.
But do we know that the integrity of what he's saying is kept pure in that relay?
Look.
And how do we know? Is there a way of proving it? Is there a way of disproving?
Look, how they will do it normally.
Yeah.
It's where they are sitting. even the interpreter is somebody that have been a member of the commission. They use their voice or somebody with a top security clearance. It's not like you are talking on the phone from somewhere.
Yes.
So it's not like, it's not Mr. X, but it's Mr. Z who's there. I think there's a lot of, work that's been done for that to happen. But the testimonies were very interesting as well that came out of the camera or in secret. But then parallel to that, the Ad-Hoc Committee continued with their work. They started with General Sibiya this week, Monday and Tuesday. Those things ran up to the early hours of the morning and all that. Then came General Maumela. But the unfortunate part with the General Sibiya thing is that he did use, you remember last week, his home was searched and gadgets were confiscated and cell phone and laptop. So he actually started by stating that some of the things he had needed to use were in that, and the timing of the police to can search his house and confiscate, search and confiscate goods. It happened on Friday while he was supposed to testify on Monday. Actually, when the police last week Friday went to his home, he was actually busy consulting with his lawyer. But he did stay for almost, 2 full days, day and night in the commission. And I think, let me start with General Sibiya. His testimony for me is not convincing. I said to you on during the week on the 938 FM that if I was in jail or in court and I had to call a witness, General Sibiya will not be any of my witnesses, because the way he presented his testimony, in my view, is not convincing at all. He contradicted himself a lot. And then he also became very personal. He went into the personality of General Mchunu.
Yes.
And how they are fighting, how the colleagues have betrayed him, how they are jealous, and all those things. He did not focus on the nucleus of the work and simple questions that were put before him, particularly by the members of parliament, or members of the committee members. Then after him, it was Minister Mchunu, actually after that came the commissioner. The national commissioner had presented himself. The national commissioner came and said, it's Mr. Mchunu who came here. It's Mr. Mchunu after General Sibiya, the minister of police.
Yes.
Fresh, it's very difficult for legal people to work with politicians. Minister Mchunu, as I observed his testimony, especially towards the evidence leader, he overtalked over the evidence leader. And I think the evidence leader, the senior counsel, allowed that to happen a lot, where he will ask Minister Mchunu a question, and the minister, he just go wherever. He doesn't answer questions directly. He gives long, winding explanations that do not answer the question. So what he did successfully was to avoid answering questions directly.
Yes.
He gave long stories. And I do not know why the evidence leader, as experienced as he is, he allowed that to happen. At some stage when he was cornered by the evidence leader to answer a question, a very simple question, to say, I'm using this as one of the examples of how Minister Mchunu conducted himself. He was being asked that you promised the commission that you are not the commission, the committee in parliament last year, that you will meet with General Sibiya and General Maumela to discuss the disbandment of the task team or to relook at the function of the task team. And you said we'll have those meetings. We ask you a question to give us the minutes in writing in September this year. They wrote to his lawyers to give us the minutes, the reports, the dates of the meeting you had with Sibiya and all that. It took 1 hour fresh. To say, why didn't you give us those minutes?
Do you think he's intentionally frustrating the process?
I think he does, because if you don't have answers or if you want to mislead the process, he's doing it very smart. He's frustrating it is, and what he doesn't understand. Now, this is my political take on this thing. Minister Mchunu doesn't understand actually the nucleus of this whole inquiry. He still insists that he's the police boss, he's the minister, and these are subordinates. He is lacking the oversight.
No, but he's saying that if a task team was set up for political reasons, or politically, then surely he's doing nothing wrong.
As a politician.
At a political level, he can disband to the very same unit.
Yeah, like again, how you do it. We spoke about this before.
Yes.
The way he's doing, the manner. Did he consult? He promised to consult. He did not. Did he consult his principal, the president? Remember, this task team was formed at the directive of the president. Did he consult the president? Did he engage the generals on the ground, which he did not? But where I think he is failing to understand is that he interfered with the operations of the police. And he's failing to understand it. Yes, the political oversight and the head of the department, it's okay. But the interference with operations, and not only of this task team, but then there were several questions that came from MPs and the evidence leader and all that regarding that letter. Remember last week I said my main concern is the letter that Kwanazi is claiming that he's not the author of that letter. He insists that it's his letter. He drafted it. He wrote it. And he wrote it after he had informed himself. He read a lot. He consulted a lot. But he can't tell who he consulted. That's the problem. And I said, we don't know who he consulted. And as I said earlier or the other day, he denies. You know, it's like denial. Yes, I know Brian Mokhotsi, but I know him as a comrade. Simply ends there. And when a man answers a question like that, you are actually defeated. And then if you can't provide evidence that Brian Mokhotsi and Ket Matala were giving instructions to him, whether by WhatsApp or by emails and all that, we don't have that in front of us yet because it's part of the evidence that the police say they can't put in public because of the manner it was acquired. He's denying some of the things that are being said on WhatsApp conversations. And the other one that where he actually played the committee, it's when he was being asked about the conversation between his chief of staff and Ket Matlala or Brian Mokhotsi. He shifted the whole thing. So, but you'll ask him, you'll ask my chief of staff. He can answer for himself. And I mean, I think he's playing politics with this thing, but I'm not impressed with the testimony of the minister.
What do you say to the assertion that we were disbanding this unit because we felt the unit was doing so well, it needs to be nationalized or replicated at a national level? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, if it's doing, why disband it? Why don't you extend it? My argument is, why don't you create the same formation?
Because disbanding is killing, in inverted commas.
Yes.
You're killing the thing.
Yeah.
Versus the thing is working. How do you expand the thing? Is what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay.
To other, you understand? Yeah. If you say it's doing so well, we want it to have a national footprint. We want it in Gauteng, in the Western Cape, in Mpumalanga, and so forth. Why disband this one? Why destroy this one? Why don't you form the same if it's doing well? You want to copy the good work that this committee is doing. However, there's also contrary to what General Sibiya and Minister Mchunu were saying. They were actually contradicting each other. While one saying we want to extend it, about another was saying, no, we need the resources somewhere. We needed to do and focus on other things. Minister Mchunu kept on saying he doesn't understand why are we so infested with this task team that is focusing on one province only and aiding another province when there are bigger police problems. There's issues of money, there's issues of Western Cape. And he raised also a thing by saying there's political killings in Mpumalanga, actually. After KZ, and Mpumalanga is the next province that has more political killings. And why are we not familiar there? But he's asking the things that he's supposed to be telling us.
Yes.
He's the police minister. He's supposed to tell us that as a planner and a policy maker, what was he going to recommend and suggest?
Yes.
And these are the things that he should have informed the nation or parliament or whoever that these are my plans, this is my vision based on the information I have. Don't say there's problems in Mpumalanga, in Gauteng, in the Western Cape, there and the Eastern Cape. Therefore, I'm going to disband the task team. But he stands by his word that it was his decision. And there's nobody else's decision. Look, I don't think Parliament is going to get much out of him, out of his testimony, especially when I heard the evidence leader, the senior counsel. At some stage, he even said, Mr. Mchunu or Minister Mchunu, I've asked you this question several times. You are refusing to answer, and I'm going to take what you have said, the long statements, and I'm not going to answer or pursue it anymore. Yeah. You could see the frustration in the evidence leader's eyes and tone to say this man is refusing to answer, moving on.
Yeah.
And it was left to the MPs to decide.
Looking at suspended Minister Mchunu's testimony so far, do you think it'll shift anything in terms of how we perceive the allegations that have been made so far and how far we've come with the Ad-Hoc Committee so far?
Yeah.
Will it be of consequence?
I think so. It has done that to me as a person.
Yeah.
And I think by the end of this weekend, coming Monday, and next week it will be boring because it will be the current minister and the two deputy ministers. I think it is going to shift the hype that we had, because we got nothing out of this. He's contradicting or he's challenging what was alleged by the three generals so far. And we don't have anything tangible except what is alleged to be SMS or WhatsApp communication. We don't have anything. Now people are starting, and are starting to say, can the allegers give us some meat? Can they give us something now to confess?
Yes.
But so far he polarized. He successfully polarized the whole, allegations and the whole thing. It will be unfortunate if this committee and the commission will finish their work and die and everything is back to normal when we are aware that things are not normal in the police service. But I think his testimony has polarized the whole thing.
Absolutely. Let's move to the NCOP, where President Ramaphosa addressed a couple of issues, and then he proceeded to suspend the Inspector General of Intelligence.
Yes.
It's been a hectic week.
Yeah, and I think it happened the same day or same even or the day after.
Yeah.
He was in the National Council of Provinces. For the better interest of the viewers and followers, the National Council of Provinces, there's 200 members.
Okay.
And that's part of the National Assembly. So for a National Assembly to be complete, it's Parliament, the 400 MPs, and the National Council of Provinces. When they come together, it's the National Assembly. So everybody is represented there.
So so how are NCOP seats bearers selected?
They're based on, remember when we have national elections, the provincial ballot. That ballot paper for provinces. So the parties will decide who are going to be their chair or representative at the National Council of Provinces.
Yes.
That's where the provincial leaders from political parties are sitting to can discuss things, because issues in Gauteng are not the same as Free State and vice versa. So that's how it's constituted. It's based on the provincial vote during the national elections.
Yes.
While the National Assembly is based on the role of the parliamentarians. So that's the difference. But they are playing a very important role, because whenever there are statutes or acts to be passed in Parliament or in the National Assembly, they have to start at the National Council of Provinces first.
Yes.
Even that's why now to question the president regarding the relationship with Mr. Maumela, because there was a formal complaint from one of the MPs regarding the relationship between Mr. Maumela, or the alleged relationship between Mr. Maumela and President Ramaphosa. So they then held him to the National Council of Provinces to answer questions, which I was not impressed.
Tell us about his answers, because I know that even from the presidency, there were statements that were made, but it almost seemed like left hand and right hand are not agree on the way forward.
Yes. But before that, let me put this up. Let me first say, I think, and I've written something last week about this, I challenged the Daily Maverick and News 24. By that sketch they did, the family tree they did, to show the relationship of President Ramaphosa and Mr. Maumela. Okay, I think they're very wrong. On record, President, and people can go and argue, President Ramaphosa is not related to Mr. Maumela. That's not a family tree. There's no relationship between the two. There's no family relationship between.
So he was married to Mr. Maumela's aunt.
Yes.
The
The sister to the father of Mr. Maumela. So Mr. Maumela, when he sees President Ramaphosa's ex-wife, that they divorced many moons ago, understand? So
almost 50 years ago.
Yeah,
bless you.
47 years ago. Understand? Now, I was married to a person, Mrs. C. We divorced 47 years back. His brother has a son. That son is not related to me. He's related to my ex-wife. And me and my wife, we are not related. We are exes. The only relationship that President Ramaphosa has with his ex-wife is that they've got a son. They are co-parenting. because he's a married man. He's been married to Dr. Tsepo Motsepe for many years now, you understand? So I think it's unfair on him to be pushed, unless people bring us something to show there is a continued relationship, which the conspiracy theorists are saying there is a continued business relationship. President Ramaphosa is hiding money under or through Maumela or things like that, and he's still taking care of his ex-wife. But those are conspiracies. Factually, there's no relationship between the two people until somebody brings it in front of me, and I'm not defending him. But him in the National Council of Provinces, Fresh, I was very upset with the president. I think he's taking us for a ride.
Tell us why.
I think President Ramaphosa is taking us as a joke. He jokes about very serious things. There's very serious allegations here about his relationship with a questionable character who has looted money from Tembisa. Allegedly so, you understand? And he goes to the National Council of Provinces, and he giggles. He still laughs there. I don't know this person. No, I was just joking. I did not know that I was in front of Maumela's house. I did not know who lived in that house. Truly speaking, I don't think the president is telling the truth. I don't think the president is honest to us as a nation. There's nothing wrong in being seen in videos and photos with people. There's nothing wrong. Whether they are criminals or they are what, there is nothing wrong with politicians. I mean, many pictures with many people for various reasons, and it does not mean we have a relationship. We may have been at the same place at the same place, same time. But I don't think the president is being honest, particularly that at the beginning he said, I don't know Maumela. Like always, he always denies. Then when he gets caught, he comes and he explains. Even his spokesperson, as you said, the statement released by Mr. Vincent Magwinya, the presidential spokesperson, two statements. First said the president does not know that person. Jiki, few days after, no, the president knows that person, but not in person is the nephew of the ex-wife. I mean, which statement is the truth? Then the president himself goes to the National Council of Provinces and he tells us that I know the existence of that person, but I don't have a relationship with that person. Why couldn't he say that at the very beginning?
So you're saying you should have just told us from the get-go, as everything came out?
Yes.
Because I was married to Jent's mom 50 years ago.
Yes, simple.
Or the aunt 50 years ago.
Yes. Simple, and you leave it there. Don't come with stories that I didn't even know he lived there. They live literally, 4 kilometers from each other. And how can you not know that the nephew of your ex-wife lives 4 kilometers from you? Then you are seen with him. Then you are seen on... And there's another conspiracy theory. Have you noticed how the media has been reporting that they don't have pictures of Maumela? There's just one weird picture that looks like it's an AI picture that's making rounds, and one where he is at a function or a gathering, a black tie occasion that's not clear, and they're assuming that's him. Now it brings me to this thing. Does Maumela exist? Is he there? Can somebody, maybe he doesn't like the media, maybe he's a private person.
He does exist. I know people that know him personally.
Oh,
so
okay.
He definitely does exist. There's not a phantom person throwing tenders for free.
Okay.
Yes, he does exist.
Is it him, the real Maumela that exists? Is it him who's throwing those tenders? That's another question we are sitting.
I can't answer that question.
This story reminds me of what? I don't know if you will recall. I don't want to wake up the sleeping dogs, but we have been through this in South Africa. There was a gentleman in yesteryear, early 90s, called Mr. Fana Shongwani. He was called the fixer of the arms deal.
I remember.
You remember Brafana. You know that for years, media never had a picture of Fana Shongwani. Today, nobody knows how Fana Shongwani looks like or where he is. Well, I at least know he exists. You understand? So this story reminds me that South Africa has very funny things. Things are happening under our eyes and in front of our eyes and under our noses. And we just take them light. I don't think the president is correct by downplaying the issue of Mr. Maumela. I don't think so, because it looks there is something deep there. And for the president to can just, giggle and laugh about it in parliament and make it as if it's a joke. I don't think it's the correct way that the head of state must be doing that with such serious allegations. That involves billions of rands.
Sure.
And that are looted or allegedly looted. Actually, they are looted because there's evidence that the monies were looted. I don't say it's him, but the fact that billions were stolen, from processes of government. It's a fact, that one is not an allegation.
Yes.
But that is Maumela alone, and who else? It's an allegation.
There's no way that he worked alone, though.
Yeah.
Not for that amount of money.
Exactly.
And I'm certain it's right through the value chain, including at hospital,
Yes.
that this has been happening. So
I'm cocksure this has been happening all over the hospitals, because when you look at the alleged involved companies, they've done work in the Northwest Province, they've done work in Limpopo Province and Free State Province, same work with hospitals. So if they can open a Pandora box, we may get more out of this.
So Inspector General of Intelligence has been suspended. Why?
We don't know. There's the Joint Committee of Intelligence, or the Joint or Select Committee of Intelligence. They received a complaint about the Inspector General. They don't tell us from who and so forth. And obviously, because the Inspector General of Intelligence reports directly to the President or is appointed by the President. So the Joint Committee or Select Committee on Intelligence therefore came to a conclusion to recommend to the President that the Inspector General should be suspended. Remember also, the Inspector General is involved in the General Mkwanazi's allegations.
Okay.
Involved in such a way that the intelligence family that is sitting actually in the presidency is working hand in hand with police intelligence. So they help them with equipment, they help them with gathering information. So it's also too much of a coincidence that the Inspector General gets suspended in the middle of a commission of inquiry and ad hoc committee. That's and where he played a role, or his department played a very big role for police to can access information from alleged criminals. We don't know yet. And again, I think the government is wrong. We know that intelligence things are kept secret, but at least inform the nation why suspending. You understand? Yes,
take the nation in your confidence.
Exactly. In the middle of that, the breaking news that happened actually 2 days ago, boom at night on Thursday evening, the police, guess which police?
Durban.
The KZN police were in the business premises of Mr. Brian Mokhotsi. We don't know why. They didn't say, they just confirmed. The police commissioner confirmed to the media that, yes, we have our forces at Brian Mokhotsi's premises, and we have they've got a warrant, and we are doing our work. Work is continuing. We don't know why Brian Mokhotsi is a man of interest. I call him a runner. That guy is a runner. He's a man of interest, but I do not know of any criminal investigations pending against him. I think in the upcoming week, things will start unfolding.
Interesting times that we're living in, sir. Let's go to Palestine. Or should we go to Madagascar first? You decide.
Either way, let's go to Palestine first, because you will get emotional. Then we will leave this. We'll leave the studio very upset with Palestine issue. Look, at the beginning of this week, you remember last week when we closed, the deal was signed, and at the beginning of this week, Hamas primarily was supposed to release about 20 live hostages, which it looks like they released, and Israel was supposed to release about 2,000 Palestinians who were in prison for many years, and it looks like they've released them as well. And the first thing that also happened, the border or the bridge between Egypt and Gaza or Palestine was opened. And so people could start...
Is it Haifa?
Yes, the Haifa bridge, yes. So people could start walking back home, or, traveling back home. But what was of interest to me is one, first, that's very painful and sad. Over 100, almost 200 of the Palestinians who were released from Israel prisons, they are youth between the age of 16 and 20. Now, if you're between 16 and 20, when were you arrested? Some have spent 3, 4, 5 years there. So they were arrested in their teenage years by the Israelis. They were kept in detention.
And many held with no charge, no nothing.
Absolutely. No charge, no trial, nothing. They've just been kept there. These kids were, let's say you are arrested at age 14. You are now, and you've been there for 5 years. You are now 19. You are released. You have never been charged. You have been humiliated now. But you go back to a destroyed country. Gaza has been destroyed by the Israelis and the Americans. Some of them, they will go there, their family members have been butchered or murdered or, blown off. And they're going back to a country that does not exist. No infrastructure. It's a rubble. The Palestinians are going to go through a phase of removing bodies under the rubble. We know of the 67,000 average or plus minus that have been, that have been killed or accounted for. We don't know how many are under the rubble. We don't know those who were kidnapped and slaughtered by the Zionist Israel. And I'm concerned if this peace deal between Israel and Palestine will last because of what the children of Palestine are left with, whether it's physically, psychologically, and it's emotionally. If I leave South Africa and I'm being pushed, let's say, to Eswatini or Lesotho, and I come back after 5 years and my whole family is wiped off, the entire city where I stayed or place where I stayed has been bombed and destroyed. What is there to go home for? What is there to live for? And for me, I think they played a psychological warfare with them. They destroyed Palestine in future already. They've destroyed the future of Palestine because these kids, these youth, they will never be normal human beings. There's no reason for them to be living. Yes. And I don't think there's a level of therapy that will ever aid them. And where will it come from? Because they are now struggling and striving for basics like water and food. So where will the therapy come from? By who? What to live from?
I mean, Ghana, the peace plan was like a 20 point peace plan. But a lot of cynics are saying that because they believe Israel has never wanted peace, because there's a bigger plan to cleanse that area of Palestinians, that this peace deal is not even worth the paper it's written on. And the fact that it's not going to last longer than, say, a week or two. That there'll be transgressions and Israel will find reasons to resume hostilities. What are your views on that? Also, how are you rebuilding an area where you expect people to peacefully coexist when all you have done is brutalize them and possibly even radicalize them? That, yes, let's look at a two-state solution if that's what you want to do. But is it truly a two-state solution if one state is apartheid in the other? If one state, because Israel as part of the peace plan are saying, but we will oversee security, which means I can't even take my fate into my own hands without you looking over my shoulders. And then la makala, or you act all surprised that there will be radicalized youth who think the only way to immortalize myself and be a part of this struggle where our land has been taken away incrementally for 80 years is to martyr myself.
Let me tell you what I think is going to happen, and some of it have started, sadly, and people are calling it the Palestinians are divided into groups and they are starting to fight each other. This week, the week that we are in, from Wednesday until on Friday, there's been skirmishes, and it is being claimed that it's Palestinian divided groups killing each other. There's been assassinations. There's been suicide bombing, something that we have known from the 70s and 80s that is one of their way of responding to this to this genocide. But I think there's two things that are going to happen. I think this youth or the children of Palestine who have no future in front of them are going to go back to picking up the stones, to picking up bombs, to committing suicides within Israel territories and so on. I think they're going to look at the situation and say, but we are not free. We may have been released from the cells of Israel, but Israel is still, I always say Palestine, it's an open air cell where, as you correctly said, they want to, even this 20-point plan of Donald Trump and Qatar and others, they want to police them. They are actually not even allowing the Palestine authority to have its own police force, to have its own army, to have its own borders, to control its own space. So there is no two-state solution here. There cannot be two-state solution when the other is a principal and is overseeing another one. How is it free? How are the Palestinians free?
And for now, it needed to be a 21 point deal then, where you must get out of the West Bank. Gaza must be rebuilt by Palestinians. Palestinians must decide who they want to work hand in hand with to rebuild. It can't be an opportunity for America-linked companies to say, don't worry, we're going to come in and we're going to rebuild for you. The Palestinians should be allowed to determine to be self-determining.
Yes, and that's what a two-state solution is supposed to. When the United Nations recently recognized Palestine as a sovereign state and a member of the UN and so forth, let it be sovereign, let it be independent. If Palestine, for example, wakes up and decide we are going to ask China and Russia to rebuild our country, we are going to have diplomatic relations with them, or South Africa to rebuild our country, let it be their decision. Let it not be the United States of America and Israel that are determining how the Palestinians are going to be self-governing, how they are going to rebuild their own state, and what form of security do they want to implement for their own people. It should never be American. It cannot be the transgressors who are allowed to do that. But historically, Fresh, let me say this. My brother and the viewers, there is absolutely no way there'll be peace in Palestine for as long as the settlers in Palestine are occupying the land of the Palestinians.
Full stop.
That's it. They are settlers, they are occupants, they are transgressors, they are murderers. And if we do not address that as the international bodies, there'll never be peace there, because the war and the battle has been the battle for the land in Palestine. And now you can't come and put plaster or makeup in this whole thing, because the intended objective of Hamas, as well as the Palestinian Liberation Authority or Liberation Organization and all that, their plan, their initial plan for their formation was to be independent, to get their land back, and to be self-governing. And that is not part of the plan. The plan now is that we have destroyed you, come back home, sit in the rubble, we are watching you. That's what this 20-point plan is all about. And Donald Trump will go, and his companies that are doing very well in the world, to say we want to go and rebuild Palestine. And do what? Implement spies, they implement monitoring equipment as they rebuild that country. Palestinians must never accept that.
And I think on top of that, Botsang, the unfortunate thing is America is conflicted, even within this peace deal, because you've taken someone's land. Someone is fighting back because you've taken their land, and you treat them like shit on their own land. And I, big brother, say, let me give you bombs and let me prop you up in this land that you've stolen. And then I'm the same guy who's going to say, okay, I'm the hero now. Here are bombs to keep these people subjugated, but I also come in peace. How does it even make sense?
It doesn't. They're very complicated. It doesn't.
How does it even make sense?
It doesn't. And that's the sad part of it, that the world think America is bringing peace in the Middle East. There's no peace that America. And as you correctly say, Fresh, how do you give one person bombs, fuel, jets, missiles to kill the other one, and you call the other one and say, I want to bring peace between you and them, but we keep on arming that one? It will not happen. I can tell you, even now, I think Israel is going to get involved so much now to instigate violence amongst the Palestinians. They are going to do that from now moving forward. To say, you see, we have left them to live there. Look, they are killing each other. That's why we didn't want to let them, get closer to our people.
Again, because I'm a cynic and I know how these things often work, I would be surprised if some of these groups that are causing internal fights within Palestinians are funded by Israel.
Yes.
I would be surprised.
No, actually.
Or by Americans.
There'll be no other. It's Americans and Israel. Mossad is at work in Israel and they are in Palestine. They are going to fund them. Like they've created Al-Qaeda.
Yes.
Like they've armed. Actually, historically, all so-called terrorist groups, whether it's Al-Qaeda, whether it was Saddam Hussein before, what, they were created, trained, funded by the USA through the CIA and by Israel through Mossad. It is what has been happening in the world. And they're going to do the same thing in order to destabilize the Palestinians themselves.
And to say, you see, we can't trust them to govern themselves. So we're going to come in and do it for them.
The same thing that has happened in South Africa in the 80s.
Yes.
When in the townships...
The so-called third force.
The so-called third force,
yes.
When the so-called Inkatha is killing ANC people in the former East Rand, which is Ekurhuleni now, and Bosebukeng and all that. evidence came out that some of those people, it was, apartheid agent forces who will even paint their faces black at night to kill people in townships.
Yeah.
So that force existed in order to destabilize people. And then they will say, you see, black people can't even
It's an age-old problem.
It's an old problem. But again, South Africa issued a statement. That's another issue. South Africa issued a statement after this peace deal to say, no matter the peace deal or what, we as a nation, we are continuing to go with the ICJ, International Court of Justice process, and opening and continue to open up the case of the International Criminal Court to declare Benjamin Netanyahu a criminal, so and who will be wanted by the criminal court. Good, South Africa. It's fine. You can continue with that. But again, now that the doors and the corridors are open, you can aid with whatever the Palestinians need. Why we as South Africans, if we can sell coal to Israel, that is making fuel that is being used to bomb and kill Palestine, why are we doing that? Why are we not stopping selling coal to Israel? Why are we made noise last year, even the year before when we went to the ICJ, about how Israel are Zionists, they are murderers, they are genociders. But we continue, and we even said their ambassador must leave the country. They still have their embassy operation here fully. They still have their consulate in Cape Town. We still import goods from this place. They still import, we export coal to them. Why are we doing that? Why are we doing it? Why are we not going on a full-blown protection of the Palestinian people with a little we can do as a nation, than to keep on funding Israel or arming Israel?
In fact, speaking of the Israeli embassy, they've criticized the Nelson Mandela Foundation for inviting Francesca Albanese, a UN Special Rapporteur on the Palestinian territories. So she'll be delivering the 23rd Nelson Mandela Annual Lecture in exactly a week, on the 25th of October.
Okay.
Citing U.S. sanctions against Albanese, the embassy called the invitation rewarding controversy. The lecture, themed Enhancing Peace and Global Cooperation, will be held at the Sandton Convention Center and streamed globally, reigniting debate on Palestinian rights and Israeli policies. My question to the Israeli embassy is this: if the Nelson Mandela Foundation are wrong for inviting someone that has openly spoken out against Israel and spoken in the name of justice
and peace, yes,
for Palestinians, surely then the Israeli embassy should be calling out the U.S. government for aiding and abetting someone who's wanted for war crimes by the United Nations.
United Nations, yes.
For me, this is double speak and a double standard that doesn't make sense. Because Netanyahu is a war criminal.
He's a war criminal, yes.
But you can't invite Albanese to come and give the Nelson Mandela annual fresh lecture.
Why are we still having the Israel embassy in South Africa? They are the last people to talk and to determine who should be invited anyway. They are officially, by a court and by the UN, being declared genociders. They are officially. So the people of Israel are not even supposed to be here. We are not supposed to be smelling any Zionist in this country. And South Africa is not taking that position. We are not. We are diving, we are taking courts. We are not doing anything hard and tangible. Instead of, the truck that goes to Richard Bay to take coal to Israel.
Yes.
However, then we should be having those trucks taking anything, medicines, food, water, whatever, to Gaza. You understand? That's what we should be doing as a nation. We should have long told Israel, pack your bags and leave. Leave our country. We have said as a nation, for as long as Palestine is not free, then we'll never actually enjoy the so-called our freedom in South Africa. But we are using soft tools when we have hard tools we can use. And one of the hardest tools we can do is to sever diplomatic relations with Israel. Number two, is to go on, is to go on economic embargo. For example, the South African Football Association, led by the Denny Jordan of the African National Congress, and we shouldn't hide it. And the African,
SAFA.
Not SAFA, the continental one.
COSAFA.
African Football Association, the one led by Patrice Motsepe, by Mr. Motsepe, a South African. Why are they not actually embarking, and I'm using sports as an example, embarking on a what do you call it, on a process of convincing FIFA, the world body, to say the same way you did with the apartheid South Africa.
Yes.
Let us isolate Israel.
Yes.
President Motsepe, Mr. Motsepe is the president of the African Football Association, okay, then the continental body, CAF. You understand? He's the president, he's the leader, he has just been re-elected, successfully so. Mr. Jordan has been on FIFA boards, has been on SAFA leadership for all donkey years. What are they doing? Using sports for isolating Israel. Right now, we have qualified to go to the FIFA World Cup. Israel probably, if they qualify, will they don't. But if they qualify, we will be sitting and sharing hotel rooms and playing with Israel. That we are calling them genocide.
They should not have even been allowed to play qualifications for the World Cup.
Exactly.
And I think it was the Italian team that gave them a hard time about that.
Yes.
So that you shouldn't be allowed to play with other children until you can play fairly with all children.
Until you are human.
Yes.
Because the conduct and the behavior of the Israelis is not human.
You know what the sad thing is about what you're saying in terms of even FIFA not calling out Israel? Is the fact that obviously Trump has been busy in the US targeting areas that are non-Republican.
Yes.
And saying there are violent areas, we need to bring in the National Guard, which is meant to be a call made by the governor of the said state.
Yeah.
That we need help, bring people in.
Yes.
But instead, for instance, even with Chicago, Trump now is talking about how we might not allow Chicago to be one of the host cities.
The host cities, yeah.
At what stage does FIFA say, we've said before that political interference in soccer is not welcome?
Exactly.
FIFA are very quiet about Trump ranting and raving about what might or might not happen with this World Cup.
Yeah.
And FIFA should be at a stage where they can say, if there's political interference, we are pulling the hosting of the World Cup and moving it elsewhere. Instead, they're sitting there. The other day at the, I think it was a club team World Cup. Even the kickoff was delayed, I think, by 30 minutes.
Yeah,
because Trump, he wants to show face and be Mr. Party.
Yeah,
and they're busy. I'm looking for the right word because I almost said they're busy falating one another, but that's inappropriate. But no, you should not be allowing political interference in soccer.
Exactly, but also not only interference, they must be proactive. I've made an example of what South Africa can do regarding sports, art, and culture. And then FIFA is quiet about the whole thing. When Italy or Italian players stood up against Israel when they were supposed to play with them, FIFA actually condemned condemned Italy to say, don't bring politics into this. But they allowed Trump to do as he wants to do. And right now, it will actually be very easy for FIFA. Now, it's the easiest time for FIFA to can withdraw from the US as a whole because they are hosting in 3 countries.
Yes.
It's Mexico and Canada.
Yes.
So they can simply say, US, deal with your politics. We are actually moving in. Fresh, I would not be surprised if Trump... The administration denies some of the soccer players come next year visas for.
No, I mean,
watch the space.
I mean, the fact that the United Nations now is being used as some sort of tool to limit movement of certain people of certain countries is wrong. It's likewise with the FIFA World Cup. The minute there's a FIFA World Cup in your city, FIFA become the custodians of that area.
Yes.
And of soccer.
And of people traveling to
but if a host president is already interfering, that is a problem. But
anyway, that's the US for you.
Yeah, my guy. Anyway, we need to move on to other issues. In fact, while we're still in the US, the other day Trump was talking about how he signed, was it a declaration allowing deployment of the CIA in Venezuela. Because of drug trafficking and for some sort of influx control of sorts. How does a president even say it? Because let's say you're deploying people to Venezuela.
Yes.
Now,
as people, not deployment spies.
Now, any and every American in Venezuela has an X on the back.
Yeah.
Because how do we know that you're not one of the spies?
Actually, I spoke to a number of diplomats and ex-colleagues, and
Yes.
and I have tried to find out if this has ever happened in the world. It's unheard of.
It's unheard of.
It has never happened in the history of espionage and intelligence that a sitting president pronounces that he has just signed a declaration. I heard one of his interviews during the course of the week when he said they are already there. The CIA spies are already in Venezuela to go and combat and control drug trafficking, as well as, as well as immigration. Now I said, then I'm like, what kind of a president does this? And people say, but I said, I love Trump. I said, I love Trump because he's going to reset the world and give America nonsense. But Fresh, you are saying it, let me explain it in simple ways, that every American who's in Venezuela, actually, if I was a Venezuelan or a government official of Venezuela, I will see them as all spies, and which is exposing them to dangers.
Yes.
They will not be trusted by the people of Venezuela. And I think the USA is provoking Venezuela. They want to topple President Maduro. I think they're provoking the Venezuela to bet against the alleged spies. Why would you go and say, I've deployed spies, they are in your country?
Sure.
You're actually saying to me, deal with them.
And all it's going to take is one American death.
Yes.
That they could even cause themselves. And then say, you see Venezuela, now you're killing our people.
We are coming for you.
We're coming.
Exactly. That's what they are going to cause violence in Venezuela in order to attack that country and remove President Maduro from the seat. That's their plan. And this happens after two things happen. Venezuela has decided this week, at the beginning of this week, officially to reduce their relationship with the Western countries.
Yes.
They've actually decided to close their embassy in Australia, as well as in, I think, in Norway, in one of the Scandinavian. And guess those deployments, those diplomatic deployments, where they are moving them to. They are opening an embassy in Burkina Faso, as well as in Zimbabwe. You see, they are shifting. They are saying they need more relation with Asia to strengthen them and to improve their relationship with Africa. That is very progressive for President Maduro and his administration, and that rattled and irritated Americans. Venezuela is not is not having an immediate border with the USA.
Yes.
They're not. How do you want to deal with, they say, or President Trump says, because when I didn't ask that question, but I was sitting and watching the news, and the interviewer or one of the journalists asked, but how are they coming to America because they are not immediately border? He said, no, they come by sea. With all the Navy and the military, they have an intelligence. How do you allow them to come by sea into America? They bring drugs by sea. I don't buy that story. It's not about drugs. It's not about illegal immigrants into the U.S. It's about wanting to unseat President Maduro.
And the fact that you can see boats leaving Venezuela and deciding that I'm gonna, what's the word I'm looking for?
Monitor them.
No, that the fact that you're gonna send a fighter jet to sink the
boat, yeah,
and say we've just sunk a boat with a bunch of drugs in it and 7 drug traffickers, and we must take your word for all of that.
Yes.
We must just take your word for all of that.
Certainly, Venezuela must prepare for this. I think they are going to recover from the humiliation by Iran, and they are looking for the next target now. America is looking for the next place where they can unseat the government and start the war. And you said it, Fresh. It's going to take one American or two to die in Venezuela. They will probably even kill that person.
Like I said, I wouldn't be surprised.
They will probably even themselves, the Americans, kill that person,
like I said,
and blame Venezuela, and they will have a reason to can have their army entering that country. And again, we are talking about this now. Trust me, in the next few months, we'll be sitting here talking about violence, eruptions, and war in Venezuela, all because of the United States of America. And when they are hated anywhere by anybody in the world, they get surprised. Nobody in the U.S. now is calling Trump out, not for political reasons. I'm talking about ordinary citizens, business people, nobody, an academic standing up and saying to Trump, but why do you want to start a war with another country? If we can secure our borders, that illegal immigrants and drugs must not come into our borders, why do we want to go into a country that we allege and or think they are bringing drugs into our country?
Because we're preemptively defending our borders.
defend your borders in your borderline. Even the sea, there's international prescripts of where does your shore, your seashore ends, understand? Up to a certain kilometer into the sea, it's your borderline. You've got control over that.
Can you imagine if the SANDF, scurried or scuttled or whatever it's called, a fighter jet, and we sank a ship from Kenya?
Yes.
And we said, no, it had drugs on it, and we've killed 7 Kenyans. We're defending ourselves from drug trade and from immigration problems, and that the world must just accept that. It's unheard of.
It's unheard of.
It's unheard of.
Mr. Donald Trump is going to reset the world, and Americans will suffer for that. Watch the space.
Yeah.
Watch the space, because he's creating. Oh, on the other hand, when he's creating these problems, he goes and he boasts how his businesses have tripled all over the world.
He's unashamedly self-enriched himself and his family and his kids, something that if any other world leader did, they'd be called corrupt.
Yes.
They'd be called, you are compromised.
You don't care for your nation and your people.
Or corrupt. Yeah. You're behaving like, and it's always African dictators who bear the brunt of this stereotype.
Yeah.
Or you've got African dictator tendencies. But in the US, just
dictator tendencies.
People have had their visas revoked, including South Africans, simply for speaking negatively against that man.
Anyway, my brother, where are we? Well, we postponed talking about.
No, can we go to Madagascar?
Yes.
Because there have been riots in Madagascar. Our DJ president,
Rajolina.
lost Rajolina.
No, Rajolina toppled him. He tried to contest second time. Remember, he's on his second term.
Yes.
But initially, he came into power through riots.
Yes.
When he was a DJ. Yes. I must tell our viewers that on Thursday when we were at the radio, I said that I completely forgot that Tato, your co-host, is also a DJ. I'm like, you see, when you take DJs and you make them presidents
or comedians,
like that comedian in Ukraine, that's what you will get. You know, the Madagascar, he was young. He was, I think, 32 or 33 when he took over.
That's about 20 years ago.
Yes, when he took over power in Madagascar, and the youth and everybody laughed and trusted him. I think they were house music, drunk at that time, and they thought this DJ is so good with music, let's put him into power. He has messed up now, but I've read and I've learned that actually the complaints of the youth in Madagascar that pushed him out of there, because he ran away. He addressed the nation from, I think, Dubai or somewhere. And I think the youth were demanding 4 things fresh. It's actually not, I think it's factual. One is water. They're demanding clean water. They're demanding electricity, good health services, and good education service. That's all. Like the youth in South Africa, like the youth in many other countries. That's all they're asking for. This DJ president decides, I don't know, was he still DJ? Or he had left the hobby. It was not a hobby, it was his job, actually.
No, I think it was done. Like, anyway, full-time into politics, yes.
Oh, okay. Then he decided to run and leave the country. And then you decide, you have even a nerve to address the nation through television from another country. And they all run to Dubai. And then you want to address the nation and you want to be taken serious. And that's why now we are back again in that country. It has happened many months ago that the military is leading the country. And an army or military general has taken over power.
Yeah, I think they were sworn in on Thursday or Friday, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
They said it will be a 2-year transitional government. That will also include civilians. It won't just be military people. And that we will be guided by the demands of the Gen Z rioters and what they wanted and what demanding. That's his promise.
I pray for peace in that country. They should do that. They should look at Madagascar is one of the countries that is the majority of the population is the Gen Z youth.
Yes.
And they've got very young age population. They must just do what the people want, and then there'll be peace in that country. But there was another problem with Rajolina. He allowed the French, the former colonizers, to continue to influence his policies and his running of the country. And that's a mistake with many African leaders. By allowing and continuing to listen to the former colonizer to be your guiding tool. South Africa, here and there, they still go to the Queen, or it's now the King, and engage the British, who are the former colonizers here. And you see, that's the problem. And that's why countries led by people like Ibrahim Traore are saying our problem was France, our former colonizer. If we want to solve our problem, we must get rid of France first. And look for other people we can learn from, we can trade with, we can cooperate with, the international cooperation. And that's what African countries should be doing. And we are failing to do that. It's very disappointing what Rajolina did in Madagascar after 2 terms. He was already towards the end of his second term. That he was young. He's one of the disappointing young people that could have actually brought an absolute difference to the lives of the toiling masses of that country. Madagascar is an island. It has, a wealth because of natural resources and tourism and all that. He failed to take advantage of that. And now the people are starting to say, you see, Africans, even where you have the young ones, they are failing. So it looks like it's in our DNA to fail.
Yes.
You understand? Because we've been saying, let the old people step aside and leave it to young people who have vision, who understand things better. Things are no longer like in the 60s and 70s. Things are different. And we find a young person like Arjolina doing the same. I will not bet on you taking a political office.
I think I trust myself more than I do a Rajolina or majority of political types that I see around.
Yeah.
You know what the problem is? The problem is this, that a lot of people come into office with the vision that the country really needs.
Yes.
And the drive and surrounding themselves with the right people. But unfortunately, everyone has a price, it seems. And if your colonial master is going to find the right button to press, that you stay beholden to the colonial masters or you stay dependent versus can you leave the room now?
Yeah. Let's deal with our stuff.
Can we have a family discussion?
Fresh, how much is enough? What price, Fresh? What price?
Sadly, that's the problem. And the day there's a leader like that, then they find someone within that circle who also has a price.
Yeah.
That will help them infiltrate or even murder, like we've seen happen before.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, we need an airtight, I don't know how to put it. We need leaders that are uncompromising, steadfast, resolute. This is what my people need right now.
And that or nothing.
And surround themselves with think-alikes that understand that this is the journey that we're going on. Yes, we might stumble and need to get up again along this journey.
Yes.
But can you let us do it?
You see, you said something very interesting earlier when you say the problem is if you have a team of think-alikes. And we have seen it, for example, with Traore at the moment. We have seen it. Look at who actually was the mastermind towards the killing of Thomas Sankara. It was his right-hand person.
Like I said, they always find someone within the inner circle.
So we may be thinking alike, but the infiltration is the problem. I think we need dictators in this country. Non-compromising, and it's okay. Some assassinate their citizens or their people, but we need look at all the countries yesterday that had benevolent dictators or people who were called dictators. Look at how in the 80s Zimbabwe was the food basket of SADC. Look at how Colonel Gaddafi in Libya, that was one of the most successful countries on earth, where there was nobody going to bed on an empty stomach, and he was called a dictator. Look at Iraq when Saddam Hussein was still saying how he took care of his people, and all that. Everywhere. Look at the situation in North Korea. That's the world's worst dictator. But look at the situation there. The well-being of the people comes first, and the people love that leader. We are told that dictators, we must hate them. But do you think the people of Korea, have you seen how they respect, whether he's forcing, people are saying he's forcing them.
Sometimes it's fear, not respect.
Yeah, it's okay. It's fear. But if fear will bring order, if fear will bring progress, the Communist Party of China, yes, they changed presidents, but it has been the Communist Party of China leading China, only and them and only them. Look at what China has done in the last 50 years. for their own people.
They lifted 1 billion people out of poverty.
Yes.
1 billion.
You understand? I mean,
Yes, their ways can sometimes be unconventional and everything else.
but unconventional determined by who?
But
That's my problem.
But even as communists, they've managed to have some sort of capitalist system going
Yes.
that's allowed for the bulk of the population to be lifted out of 50 years ago.
Yes. I mean, look at Rwanda. Let's not even go far. Look at what Kagame, so-called dictator, so-called warmonger, so-called a thief of minerals from the Congo. Look at what he has done for his people and his country. That's why the people of Rwanda, even if they are fearing to vote another party, they still vote for President Kagame after so many years with 90-something%. It is because of what the people are receiving. Look at us who have followed the demon crazy that is imposed on us. We were told democracy. You need to copy from the West. You need to copy from the even dictated what should go into our constitution. Look at us today. All we have is freedom of speech, and that we can share toilets and bathrooms, those who are lucky to work and live in suburbs. But we still haven't achieved levels of employment, poverty, levels of education have dropped, even standards. So this democracy that is being imposed on us, it is not delivering what is good for the people, but for a selected part of the population. I am not a buyer of democracy, so I need leaders, dictators. If they will bring security in the Cape Flats, if they will bring security towards women and children being raped and abused, that's the kind of leader I need.
Clean up Johannesburg.
Clean up Joburg. Don't clean it up only temporarily where the G20 visitors will be passing and going to eat, and then they go to Nazareth and they leave. If we can't fix that, if we can't fix the streets, I need leaders who will actually come and say, rapists, murderers, and those who feed our kids drugs, lock them up. Let's change the law. Let's increase the time to life. Rapists, murderers, and drug dealers, let the minimum sentence be life without a chance of parole. Why do we need such people in the society? Why? They can't be rehabilitated. We have seen in this country where people go to jail as murderers or inkabis. What do you call inkabi in English? That way. Assassin. They come back, they continue their work. They even
do the work from inside jail.
Yes, they do the work from inside jail. The rapists. How many times have we had court cases in this country of people who have raped? They come out, they rape. We have had a case recently. Somebody was released a week after he was caught raping.
I think there's a 50-year-old pedophile.
Yes. Now, why don't I want a leader who will say, lock those people up permanently? Permanently. And we must be able to make decisions as leaders that will protect normal citizens, ordinary citizens. We can't have equal rights, me and a rapist. We can never be equal. We can't have equal rights, me and somebody who has stolen money from Tembisa Hospital where people died. Some were murdered. Some died because the hospital could not take care of their health. I can never be equal with that thug. Never. That's where equal rights does not work for me.
And you talk about how often democracy leads to over-consulting and indecisiveness. A friend of mine, minister in Botswana.
Yes.
And they traveled to meet their counterparts in Rwanda.
Okay.
So they own it. They're talking about whatever they wanted to talk about. And they still needed to travel back to Bots for decision.
Yeah.
The ministers they met in Rwanda, and all young, made a call on the spot.
Yes.
Everything was, okay, this we're doing, this, maybe not.
Yeah.
This we're doing. Let's to go back and consult.
Yes. No, Fresh, let me tell you. One day, I used to sit on a number of SADC committees on corridors and borders. We'll sit in a meeting, 15 SADC countries, 13 because the other 2 are islands. We'll sit in meetings. There was an agenda. There was a plan to say, this is what we are going to discuss. How do we resolve the Bay Bridge border post issue, as well as the Kanzakula border.
Kazungula.
Yes. And the one going into the DRC. How are we going to solve this? We sit there. Representatives, suits and ties, money, S&T, nice hotels. My brother will sit for 2 days. After discussing for 2 days, we'll say, okay, we are going back home now to consult with our principals. Why did we go there? I used to ask her, why are we here? Go there with a position of a country.
Yes.
Go there to say, if Botswana will differ with me, how I'm going to lobby them or lobby other countries to convince Botswana. That's how you engage in...
Pre-plan all scenarios, can leave there with a position taken.
Yes. And then we'll come back home. I'm not surprised of what happened in Botswana. I'm sure that Minister of Rwanda came with a pre-plan or called Kagame on side during break and said, my principal, this is what Botswana is proposing.
No, it was decided immediately.
Yeah.
It was decided immediately that, okay, well, this we can do, this we can't do.
That is having decisive leaders. Oh, no, Yakai, why were you going there? You went there to negotiate, to engage, and to sign or to enter into agreements. The only thing that should be left out is we have agreed, we are waiting for the ceremony, because people like ceremonies in front of cameras. But it's lack of decisive leadership. And unfortunately, we in the Republic of South Africa, we also have those kind of leaders. And President Ramaphosa is one of the typical example of an indecisive leader. He is even worse. 1 is in the dark, 2 is indecisive, 3, where he decides, he delays. Understand? Those are 3 weaknesses of a leader, and our president has that. And many other presidents in the continent, they don't have that kind of agency and leadership trait that you need to have a leader. In future, somebody who was a love of President Ramaphosa, lover in sense of loving him, rise to me this week and says to me, but how did we end up with President Ramaphosa? I said to him, let me tell you how. Because in 2017, you campaigned so much, you wanted Zuma so much out, and you wanted President Ramaphosa, and nobody else.
Yes.
Nobody else. You understand? I don't say that the country or the ANC should have kept President Zuma in power. But I said to him, that's what happened. That's how you ended up with him. People are questioning things. He's on his 2nd term. And they don't see anything wrong. We are on autopilot. Julia said it a few years back that the country is on autopilot. The president is reactive. He's not proactive. He's not dealing with issues that are of serious importance. We are now sitting with commissions. I'm glad that at least they are allowing the police to continue doing their job regarding the alleged criminals. I'm very happy. I just pray that the National Prosecuting Authority will come to the party.
Yeah.
Understand? Because it's useless for the police to do the work, and then these people will walk free in court because the NPA have messed up, or because the judges are something else.
Sure.
I want somebody as brave as Mchunu one day to come and check what is going on in the judiciary. Watch, it may be me. The judiciary of this country, fresh, it needs somebody who's prepared to take a bullet and expose the rot in the judiciary. And whenever you say it, you must see how judges jump up. They jump. Tell us who, why. They know. The fact that they panic and they jump and they get excited when you talk of corruption in the judiciary, it's worrying. Why are they panicking? Why are they panicking? Somebody must stand up one day who's suicidal and drop a bomb about our judiciary. We will be shocked. If this commission and this Ad-Hoc Committee are not going to expose what is happening in the judiciary, but there's a lot happening there. I'm telling you, there's a lot happening in the judiciary. Judges, magistrates are human beings.
Sure.
They've got a price check like anybody else. And you can't tell me that they're squeaky clean. None. There's nothing like that. And that's why we are sitting with problems. I mean, last week I said to you, there's something that is irritating me a lot about this commission and this Ad-Hoc. To say when it comes to the judiciary, it must be held in camera. Did I tell you what was the explanation given?
Tell us.
The thing. They say because, and I'm using an example, imagine a judge who had sentenced people to jail, or a judge who has dismissed a case is found to be, and it's confirmed that that particular judge is corrupt or he has taken money. Imagine the chaos it will cause.
There'll be a ripple effect of everyone else saying, if this judge ever presided over my case, then can we please retry?
That is the fear. But that's what should happen.
Yeah.
You understand? That's what should happen. Why are we afraid to say people will rebel and revolt and say, no, I'm in jail? How many people are in jail innocently because a judge was bribed or a judge erred? You understand? How many people were let go? Rapists, murderers, whatever, thugs, How many have walked scot-free after committing the crime because they could afford to pay that judge double the salary the government is paying that judge? How many? And why should they get away with it? And I've used a very bad example before to say, imagine a parent that daughter has been raped, poor family, and the rapist has so much money that he can influence the National Prosecuting Authority or the judge, or pay both the prosecutor and the judge to throw this case out. Are you saying when the parents of this child or that child now hears this story, it must, we are afraid that that child will rebel or that family will question the justice? And that's what should happen. We must question injustices.
Sure.
We can't say, hey, it will cause chaos when people discover that injustices are existing in the justice system. We can't say that. We actually should rebel as a nation when we discover injustices, because we are fighting an unjust system or corrupted people in the justice system.
And on the just note, we are out of time.
Oh, thank you, Brother Fresh.
Yes, sir. Where do you find you on social media?
botsangm@gmail.com, and on WhatsApp, it's 083-884-7787. And on social media, enters @botsangm.
Heavy show. Very, very heavy show.
I actually feel heavy. It was a very heavy show, very emotional show this week. But thanks, brother man.
Thank you for being a part of WOW What a Week, #PoliTricks with Fresh and Botsang. Coming to you from Discover TV, let them be your stage. They are in Fourways, Johannesburg. Find them and book your opportunity to also have your name in lights and to be a star within those lights. Whether it's a podcast, you're shooting a music video, you want to shoot a tiny desk performance, you want to shoot a DJ mix, the studio's available for all of that. It's Discover TV. They are in Fourways, Johannesburg. Shout out to Trevor and his team at Pezulu Works for all of the cinematography, Keletso Modisakeng, our executive producer, and most importantly, you for being a part of another episode of WOW What a Week, #PoliTricks. Please keep the conversation going in the comment section, clip the videos, share the videos, and also like and subscribe. We need for you to do that so that we can continue being able to make all of this content for you. Until next week, we're out of here. Have a great week. A wow week in spite of yourselves.